On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. I pledge the flag of Guyana and to be loyal to my country, to be obedient to the laws of Guyana, to love my fellow citizens, and to dedicate my energies towards the happiness and prosperity of Guyana. Thank you, and have a seat. My name is Bishram Kupen. I am the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Housing and Water, and I'll be the chairperson for this very brief session we're having here, the opening session. I don't want to keep you any longer, so at this point in time, please join me in welcoming our regional chairperson, Ms. Velda De Silva, to give the welcome remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, PS, Bishram Kupen, Honorable Minister of Housing and Water, Mr. Colin Crowell, Honorable Susan Rodriguez, Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Director General, Mr. Ricky Ramraj from the Ministry of Agriculture, who has joined us here this morning, our Regional Vice Chairman, Mayor, Prime Minister Rep, AREO, media, team from the Ministry of Housing, and of course, residents of Region Number 2, the allottees. A pleasant good morning and welcome to the Dream Realized Housing Drive, Region Number 2. It is indeed an honor and pleasure for me to stand here this morning and welcome all of you. Only this morning I spoke with the senior officer within the Ministry of Housing, and I was asking her how you did it, because I can recall from 2020 to date, these staff, Honorable Minister, I don't know where they got the energy from, but the amount of work that they have put into this country in terms of housing drive and to ensure that you have your house lots and your transport, it is tremendous. They need a hearty round of applause. Like sometimes I would say to persons when they come and ask, when are we going to get our house lot, when? And I want to let you know also that all the backlog of applications that were in since 2008 to date, they are at 2022. That needs another round of applause. Because I can tell you, I don't think they even ever enjoy a holiday season. And I'm very, very much impressed and happy for the kind of commitment and dedication that the staff, along with the minister, both ministers within the Ministry of Housing, has committed and has done for our beautiful region and our country as a whole. So this morning, my task is just to welcome all of you, and I know it's a long awaiting process, but however, it takes time because we want accuracy in terms of the allottees to have their transport. And many times persons say, nothing is happening for the smaller people. But when I look around, I can tell you that you will be so independent to have your title in your hands. And I was also told that the phase 4 on the Niemen has a spill-off too. It might turn into phase 5 soon, but it's an extension of the phase 4, which I'm very grateful for. So from the day we took office in 2020 to date, I must let the ministers know that for persons wanted house lot and call in to say they applied so long, that has minimized. And I'm happy for the job that the Ministry of Housing is doing right across our beautiful region and country. So once again, welcome to all of you and congratulations to those that will be getting their title. Thank you.
Thank you, Regional Chairman, Ms. Velda De Silva. Please let me acknowledge Mr. Ricky Ramraj, was just mentioned. He's a Director General in the Ministry of Agriculture, but also he has political responsibility for Region 2, Mr. Ricky Ramraj. In fact, that will serve as sort of introduction for him now, because I'd like to invite him. Please join me in welcoming him to give some remarks, brief remarks to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS, Honorable Ministers, Colin Crowell, my good friend Susan, Regional Chair, Regional Vice Chair, DREO, the Mayor, Prime Minister Rep, allottees, residents, media, a pleasant good morning. Today, indeed, is a very historic, important day for us in the region. Having the political responsibility for this region, every 2 weeks when I come here and I'm at Freedom House or at State House, I'm bombarded with housing issues. Week after week, when I go back to Georgetown, I cut out all those information. Well, there's a lot of information do come from housing, agriculture, road, and different areas, and send it to both of the ministers for them to address. 2 weeks ago, I was on the meeting SAN, when a whole set of persons there indicated to me they also have housing issues. I immediately, in front of all of them, called Minister Colin Crowell, and he responded immediately. And he told me to inform the residents that he will be here today and tomorrow. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you for keeping up the good words, both you and Minister Susan, for always responding to the needs of the residents and to me for Region 2. Thank you very much. But just to add a few other points here, you can look at the kind of development that is happening in Region 2. Beside the housing drive, beside what is happening in terms of only 2 weeks ago, Minister Malik Chan was here when we start tearing down the Cottonfield Secondary School. A new one is going to be built there. 2 other schools were commissioned on the same day. And so many other development is happening in our region. It's exceptional. It's unbelievable, the kind of the trajectory, the speed at which we are moving. And so today, I'm very, very thankful, and all of us should be thankful for what the government has been doing. 2 weeks ago, we were distributing the 100,000 cash grant. And let me tell you the historic part of this part of it. Region 2, in 2 days, have completed 28,000 distribution, unprecedented in distribution. I know there are about 500 to 600 more checks that people who did not receive, but those were uplifted yesterday. They were uplifted yesterday, and that distribution will be commencing shortly. Today is not about the development generally of the region. Today is about housing issue. So I'll cut my speech by thanking again both ministers for being here, and to wish each and every one of you congratulations on whatever aspect will be delivered to you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director General, Mr. Ricky Ramraj. Thank you for that. As you know, all of these housing programs that we have is really the fulfillment of the 50,000 house lot promise that was issued by the government of Guyana through His Excellency, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, and the works being projected or executed by our ministers. And you will hear from them in a moment. In fact, right now, I'd like to invite Honorable Minister Susan Rodriguez to brief you on the status of our programs. Please join me in welcoming her.
Region 2, good morning. Always a pleasure to be here in your region. Please allow me to acknowledge Honorable Colin Crowell, Minister of Housing and Water, our Permanent Secretary, Bishram Kupin, who is our Master of Ceremony this morning, Regional Chairman, Vice Chairman, Director General in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Ramraj, the Mayor, AREO, other regional officials who are here, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to be at this 54th Dream Realize event since we took office in 2020. And at every one of these allocation events or events where we sign agreements of sale and certificates of titles, which we will be doing here today, I'm always very happy to see people walk into an event with an application and leave with an allocation. Come as a prospective landowner and leave as a landowner. People who come with an allocation letter and leave with their certificate of title or leave with their agreement of sale, who will become homeowners. That is a very important accomplishment in your lives, and it's a very important objective of the government of Guyana to ensure that we empower our people with home ownership. And this is one of the most impactful ways that we are using the resources of our country to develop our country, but also to invest in the lives of our people. And so through this housing program, we are able to deliver house lots at extremely subsidized prices. And you, in return, when you acquire that piece of land at a subsidized cost, your net worth is immediately increased because of the work we will put in to the areas that you are allocated. Resources for the infrastructure work, development of roads, bridges, utilities, installing the electricity, installing the water distribution network, the construction of water treatment plants to give you clean water to your homes, all of that investment made by the government, so that you can see it translated into your life and improve and increase your net worth. So we are very pleased with the achievements over the last 4.5 years. We've been able to allocate over 41,000 ordinary Guyanese who are now landowners who were not landowners just 5 years ago. That's 41,000 people who have families and who will benefit and have benefited from this housing program. And this year, we will see approximately 25,000 new landowners being allocated. People thought 10,000 annually was a high target. And you know our target is 50,000 over our 5-year period. But we have not limited ourselves to that 50,000. Our program is about delivering real results. So it's not just about ensuring that our manifesto commitment is completed, which is important to us, that all of the promises we make are achieved. But we don't just stop there. We haven't limited ourselves. We haven't limited our potential at the Ministry of Housing and Water on what we can do and what we plan to do. We want to deliver real results, and that's why we have taken a careful examination. They have done a careful examination of the demand in all of the regions, regions 1 to 10. And we have come up with a plan, led of course by His Excellency. We've come up with a plan to address all of the backlog in 9 of the 10 administrative regions. So the aim this year is to address up to current, to deal comprehensively with the backlog of all the regions except Region 4, which I'll speak about in a minute. But all of the regions, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, to address all of the backlog in those regions. So all of our people who live in those regions can expect their house lots in the coming year. So that's the plan for those regions. Here in Region 2, we will allocate over these 2 days a plantation on the Neming Track A and 2 new areas, Lot 7 and Lot 8. We plan to allocate approximately 500 new lots in the next 2 days, which will be to low, moderate, and middle income categories. And of course, we have invited today approximately 200 beneficiaries to sign their agreements of sale and their certificates of title. So congratulations to all of you. And this new area is a very excellent location because you're already surrounded in this area by developed housing areas. So you have in proximity on the Neming phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're close to neighbors already, you're close to developed housing areas, and so it is an area that you will be able to start your construction in a short time and be around people who have already moved into these developed areas. In Region 4, as I mentioned, we plan to reduce significantly the backlog there, but you know it's our most populated region, and therefore the highest demand for housing is in Region 4. But we plan to reduce the backlog significantly there, and you will see a number of Dream Realize events this year in Region 4 to reduce the backlog there and maybe move the allocations, the applications from beyond 2019 and come to a more current year, maybe 2020, 2021. So you can see that development in Region 4. This event, of course, is supported, as always, by the financial institutions. Several banks are present here today, insurance companies, and of course our sister company, the Guyana Water Inc. So we urge you to take advantage. Now that you will leave here with your agreement of sale, you can approach the banks and try to negotiate one of those low interest mortgages so that you can start making your plans to construct your new home. And supporting the housing allocation drive is also the deliberate policies of the government to promote home ownership. So we have in all of these areas, many of the areas across different regions have reserved land where we have started housing construction. And so people have been able, thousands of people have been able, 3,800 homes are under construction. Some have already been completed and some are under construction now through the housing program. And so many of our people were able to purchase the housing units at a significantly reduced cost as well, because if you have to build one of those low-income houses on your own, it would cost you a lot more. But there's only so many houses we can build because even finding contractors is a challenge now. With how well the economy is doing, everybody is working, and we're very, very pleased about that. So we have negotiated with the banks since we came back into government and ensured that interest rates were reduced in the last 4 years. In a global economy where interest rates are being raised because of inflation, in Guyana we saw interest rates reduced significantly. We've also introduced other programs like the steel and cement subsidy program to help people to commence the construction of their homes and to make it more affordable to them and more accessible to them. And we've also increased the mortgage interest relief ceiling to $30 million. So if you get a mortgage from the bank, all of the interest that you pay on that mortgage, you can claim that back at the end of the year from the GRA as a tax deductible. So these are some of the policies that we've implemented to make homeownership more affordable and to make it more accessible to ordinary Guyanese. And the DG mentioned, who is often here, Mr. Ramraj, who's often here in the region, that there's tremendous development going on in Region 2 outside of the housing program. I'm coming in, I just passed the stadium, the new stadium that is being built. You're getting a new hospital in this region that will deliver world-class healthcare services. The Onderneming water treatment plant is completed and is in the testing phase and will be delivering treated water to the people from Supanam, I believe, to Tamad Manor. So all of the people in that section of the coast, we have the Lima Sands water treatment plant, and we have a third water treatment plant at Maria's Delight that will take care of the charity end of the coast here in Region 2. By the time all three of these programs are completed and implemented, the water treatment plants, all of the people who live on the coast in Region 2 will be receiving treated water, clean water that you can drink. So these are just some of the highlights of the work taking place in Region 2. And apart from all of that, it's always a pleasure to be in this region, to be celebrating with you, working with the people in Region 2 who are very cooperative, who are very interested in their own development, and who always come out at all of these events and engage our government and engage your leaders to ensure that the work that we do have a positive impact on your lives. So congratulations to all of those who will become new landowners today and tomorrow, and special congratulations to those who are present here today, signing your agreements of sale and your certificates of title, and you are now on your way to being in possession of a title that guarantees your land ownership and your land rights. So congratulations to all of you. God bless you and your families.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Susan Rodriguez. Thank you. Minister mentioned about all of the work we're doing across the country, and it is a testament of the hard work of our ministers and also the staff of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, who go beyond the call of duty. In fact, sometimes they leave 10, 12 at night at the ministry. So join me in giving them a big round of applause for the hard work they're doing. Thank you. Let me also acknowledge the mayor who is here, also the regional vice chairman and the prime minister representative for this region. At this point in time, we have a wonderful kind of break from the speeches. We have a wonderful presentation in the form of a calypso to be done by Ms. Samira Bisnat of the Anna Regina Secondary School. Please join me in welcoming her.
Teachers say respect is always the key, but some do not act when they hear or see whispers and rumors and fake allegations. These are not the lessons written in our books. Nowadays in schools it's not always safe. These bullying come from jealousy and even hate. Where is that kindness and where is that empathy? These children need almighty or some kind of remedy. With the things I've heard indirectly, you have to be strong mentally. But thanks to my intelligence, fear is a word never taught to me. I have a big dream to chase, so let us put our bullies to them place. I remember when Dave get back at the score and Jessica want bully to find out more. She always nosy and causing enough trouble. Oh, how me does wonder when she'll pop that bubble. In every classroom there's a boy like Shane. They always embarrass him and cause him pain. No note the favorites and targeting students. Dear parents and teachers, teach the children dignity. With the things I've heard indirectly, you have to be strong mentally. But thanks to my intelligence, fear is a word never taught to me. I have a big dream to chase, so let us put our bullies to them place. So hear me now, bullies finish up with this trend. I know you can do it, this behavior must end. We'll rise up together to build one Guyana. Let's protect our future and unite as one. Respect is a rhythm, love is state. Together we can make this life so sweet. Our bond is much stronger when we help each other. Be a brother's keeper, and Howard never taught to me. I have a big dream to chase, so let us put our bullies to them place. Put our bullies to them place. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Come on, give her a big round of applause there. She's highly talented, she's a great performer, and one of our future leaders of this country, as are all young people out there. So very wonderfully done there, young lady. Very good, very impressed. Thank you. Important for you to hear from our minister, Minister Colin Crowell, of all of the projects that we have going on. Sometimes when we come to this point here, it's really the final part that we get to. But to get here, there's a lot of work that has to be done, from the acquisition of land to the planning part, the construction, the dealing with contractors, etc. It's a very laborious and intense process. Along with Minister Susan Rodriguez, is none other than the Honorable Colin Crowell, our Minister of Housing and Water. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you very much, PS. PS has just done me an injustice to have me speaking song, and the closest I go to singing is in the bath. And the people in the house say that that can't even pass. Minister Susan Rodriguez, Permanent Secretary Coupen, Director General in the Ministry of Agriculture, and more direct, particularly today, has direct responsibility in terms of Region Number 2, Regional Chairman, Comrade Velma De Silva, Vice Chairman, Umesh Udit. I understand His Worship the Mayor, he just came in front. His Worship the Mayor, Devin Mohan, the Prime Minister Rep. I saw him walking in earlier, but I don't see him in the crowd. Prime Minister Rep, members of the media, the representatives of the various banks and the insurance companies on my right, the staff of Guyana Water Inc., and now I come to Ms. Denise Tudor, Director, Operations Director, who I had invited to join us in front, but she just can't remove that hat of being amongst her staff, who's performing the functions for the CEO currently. And so Ms. Denise Tudor and her team, I see them all in their red jerseys today, and tomorrow I heard it's orange. And I want to recognize also, we have brought another department, the planning department, because sometimes we don't bring them, but in the regions we have started. And so I want to recognize Jermaine Stewart and her team, who will be here, and I'll explain their purpose why they're here throughout the 2 days. The Community Development Department, Land Allocation, the Conveyance Department, and forgive me if I forgot anyone else. But more importantly, you who are sitting and some standing here this morning, and just asking that I be as brief as possible so that you will get your business out. I know that's what most of you are saying. A pleasure is mine to join you here in Essequibo over these next 2 days with the team and all the accolade that you will always hear, and you will continue to hear in terms of the Ministry of Housing, the Central Housing and Planning Authority, in all that we do, the vibrancy, the execution, the deliverables, all, it's a collective. And so sometimes people ask how we are able to do this. And when I outline to you what's happening in general, you'll realize how much these staff continue to be on overdrive and how much is being done additionally with the similar amount of staff. So you'll understand the context. The activities over these 2 days are multi-purposes. First of all, you've had historically, for many of you, you may say to yourself, when you heard housing is coming, you say, them again, I still have my allocation waiting. I still have my ownership issue to be sorted out, waiting on my title. I'm still waiting on this and I'm still waiting on that. But be rest assured, your People's Progressive Party civic government, led by our youthful president, Dr. Mohammed Irfan, will continue to work as we have been doing for the past 4.5 years. We'll continue to work day in and night to ensure that we no longer talk about delivering on our manifesto commitments, because we have delivered on those. We are now speaking about additional tasks and additional responsibilities that we want to deliver to the people of Guyana, that at the end of the day, we all here in this region and the rest of the country must have a better quality of life, and more importantly here for the housing sector, that will see us reaching to that stage of home ownership and being part of a collective, of a community that make up of different dynamics, different races, and bring together what we call a one Guyana spirit. That is what we're trying to build and do here. The housing program, if you've checked historically, and just bear with me a few minutes. The housing program historically has always been one of the front burner for the People's Progressive Party civic government. And then you only have to go to recent history between 2015 to 2020 and to do a comparison, and you'll understand what I mean by that statement. So for example, if you examine the period between 2004 to 2014, even starting then, you had over 100 and close to 120,000 house lots that were delivered to the people of Guyana. And if you recall, we're talking back then, we're coming from a period where we had to clear off debt left by the PNC government. And so in that period of 2004 to 2014, would have seen an injection of over $30 billion. Mind you, just think back the year I'm speaking of, what the value 1 billion then was, what 1 billion is now. So you'll understand in the context, $30 billion in that period. That will tell you how we have started off as a PPPC government. And then if you examine the period of 2015 to 2020, just here on Essequibo, I ask you, you tell me, what happened for housing program and housing sector for 5 years between 2015 to 2020? You tell me. You are here. You saw many of you have pending applicants for the listeners to come, have pending applications before that period. But what has happened after? In 2020, when we got into government, prior to that, and from starting 2019, we campaigned the length and breadth of this country, including Essequibo Coast. And our then presidential candidate, who happens to be the former Minister of Housing and Water, said to you, as president, he will deliver to the people of Guyana, as part of his government, 50,000 house lots over these 5 years. In fact, our manifesto says 10,000 annually. And as Susanna said, we have crossed the 40,000 mark. In fact, as I speak, we are over 41,000 allocations since we were in government again. So that will tell you that we only have to do maybe 8, or if you round it off, 9,000 for the rest of this year, right? That gives us our commitment of 50,000. Wash our hands, say work delivered. Let's move on to the next President Irfan Ali period of the end of this year to the next 5 years, right? You note I announced that because the president is not going anywhere. And you'll re-elect the People's Progressive Party civic back into government. Essequibo in this period, 4.5 years, 791 allocations. Therefore, new families being able to have their new environment. But was the pending applications? I said we allocate 700 plus. What's the pending applicants? On Christmas Eve, a few of us got a call. And you know, Christmas Eve, you're thinking about next day, how you can finish work early, right? And you leave. A few of us got a phone call. You're required to be at a meeting. What was that meeting? Summoned by His Excellency the President. You have 24 hours, this is Christmas Eve, to come up with a plan as to how we will clear the backlog in the system. So if you check our system, this is about December 31st, we ended the year at probably close to 6,000 or 7,000 pending applicants. Region 2, 2,500, if you round it off. I have therefore with me, we calling this the Bible. This is the document we're working with. An outline, and every 2 days, we've been updating it, of by region, how we will be able to clear the backlog or the prior years of the pending applicants. Now, what's the problem? Housing has to compete with other sectors for land use. Ramraj will talk whole days from Ministry of Agriculture. He will tell you the requirement for land use here. And Essequibo, coincidentally, last year, had its highest production or yield output for rice last year. So it means more persons are replanting. And the Director General in the hat, in his capacity, already said this year we're going to pass last year's production. So what means? It means we have to compete, we have to find land. Then you also have private leaseholders. So we have been engaging Guyana Lands and Survey Commission, depending on where, the rich region. Guyana Sugar Corporation, depending which region. But you don't have Gaisuko in this region, but you're mainly GLSC. To be able to acquire lands, to see us to be able to deliver on that commitment. And then, this was in anticipation of our preparation for a budget. And in our budget, we've put there that this year, we will deliver on minimum 25,000 house lots in the year of 2025, which means that we'll be going over our manifesto commitment by at least 14 to 15,000 more allottees. And in a cough from my head, when during the budget presentation, doing the calculations, I informed that by June, we must accomplish 15,000 of that 25,000. But yesterday, so the staff, hope the staff are listening. Yesterday, Minister Rodriguez and myself were told that we must accomplish this by July of this year. That's a lot of work, right? I'm taking time for you here and for the persons who will listen subsequently to understand. When you come here and you will put your hand in an envelope and you will uplift your number, it's not by magic we got there. It costs money. It's a lot of work. It is government's priority to ensure that this happens, because in the 4.5 years since we're back in government, close to $250 billion have been invested in the housing program or the housing sector in 4.5 years. So when you quarrel and you say you don't get your allocation yet, you must understand how we are doing this and how we are going to be able to deliver on this program. So for example, on the naming, we have expended to date, this is in 2022 when we did the initial set of allocations, part of the 791, over or just under $700 million in infrastructure work. And then there's another area that you're probably asking why I'm not speaking about it. So you know how we are. We deal with issues and we confront them. Is the area that is called Buxton St. Joseph's, well, commonly called Charity, where we are allocated there for where persons have not been able or have not been shown their land. We have spent to date $1.2 billion there. since in 4.5 years in Region 2 on the housing program, we have spent $1.9 billion on 2 housing areas. As I speak, therefore, yesterday, we would have had the approval for the no objection for a portion on the naming for the track A and B that will see an injection of another $1.45 billion, which will bring into fruition $3.3 billion investment on the housing program. Tomorrow, therefore, starting tomorrow, pending applicants, because what we are trying to do is also dependent on availability of land at the time. We have been able to get additional lands on the naming through Guyana Lands and Survey Commission. So tomorrow, 500 allottees will be allocated on the naming area, for which the infrastructure work has just been awarded. So therefore, it means by the last quarter of this year, those persons that are being allocated tomorrow will be accessing their lot in this year. And moving forward after this exercise, all the allottees that we will be allocating in this year, it doesn't matter which region we will be doing it. All allottees that are being allocated in the year 2025 will be accessing their lot by the end of 2025 across the length and breadth of this country. And equally, we will be providing a letter to that commitment for the new allottees. Time did not permit us. So from the next set of allocations, we'll be provided a letter to that effect. Now, charity, the persons that have not been able to access, those of us who know, and Vilma is from that portion, well, she has relatives and direct family living in there, and then she's from the Pomeroon, will know. Charity has an issue on flooding, and that's a fact. The DG will tell you that we have already started a new drainage, work on a new drainage canal as part of the 2025 program. We're putting in a new drainage canal, so not just for the charity, but even for wider. That we're doing this year. So it is our anticipation, though, on the current work, where the Buxton St. Joseph area is, we want to be able, by the end of April, to show persons their lot that have been allocated to date in that area. So I ask you for your patience, because Minister Rodriguez will tell you she was with the president and a commitment was given in January that, well, by the following month or the same month? Following month, or by the end of January. But we're doing some work to make the area that to be able to be occupied. So I hope I'm clear on that so nobody don't repeat. And I'm asking the members of the media to also highlight that. That will help. What else is happening? So allocations tomorrow. Today, 200 and possible, depending if persons are able to pay 50% on their lot and more, will be 277 possible persons on the naming that we had signed up for, that we had allocated, will be signing today to be able to, and for their title, to process their title, that will see us be able to come back and issue your titles. And as part of our commitment and mandate that was given to us yesterday, and I didn't tell the staff, I waited until today, all allocations that are being done in this year, the titles must be issued in the year of 2025. So I'm sure I might be hearing groan from the staff over there. Because It's the same staff, and that's why I'm asking you for the patience. It's the same staff that has to prepare for the allocation activities, that has to be involved in the signing for their agreement, for your agreement of sale, for the certificate of title. It's the similar staff that are involved in those activities. In fact, I can't even get a day available from them between now and April to fit in any other area because we have a schedule, a daily schedule, which includes Saturday, by the way, where we are in different regions or at the head office, where they're involved in an housing activity. But at the end of the day, one is either to allocate, two is to ensure that persons are able to sign, to give ownership, that signals completion, or three, to deal with any, and you still have the regular daily task of queries and so forth that you will bring up in a few minutes. Because, which brings me to the other aspect of why we're here. We have had some challenges in Essequibo with squatting. Charity, by and large, we have that under control. I think I can use that statement. And we have sorted out. Well, I see Vilma open her eyes a little, right? There are some other commitments I'm making here now. So we have 5 areas that we intend to regularize in this year. These include Lima Sands. Yes, Lima Sands. I'm sure if I ask you to put up your hand, there's somebody here from Lima Sands. Paradise, Jim, Mariah's Lodge, and Walton Hall. We're talking about possible 95 persons who will be regularized during this year. Mr. Charles and his team has their work cut out. So I ask you, therefore, for your patience, because we have in the system a number of titles that are being processed. Available for uplifting over these 2 days is close to 132 certificate of titles that can be uplifted. We publish those names so that you can see and so that you don't have congestion in the system. And now you'll understand there's transparency in what we're doing. We therefore have other work that is ongoing to ensure that we bring conclusion to your matters. I therefore want to say to you, continue to be patient with us because we intend to bring all of the challenges that we have lagging in Region 2, and there will be many. We intend to resolve them. And that is why this exercise is over 2 days, because I want to give adequate time for the staff to do their work and for us to take in some of those queries, because when we get back to Georgetown, we'll be taking the whole matrix and hit the issues head on. There are some, though, that I've had preview to, has some bordering with lands and survey. So those will be into agencies, to be addressed into agencies. That may take a little longer, but those that within the remit of Ministry of Housing, we intend to have those resolved. And my final comment, therefore, is reserved for planning. We've brought the head of the planning department, because we have introduced the electronic single window. And it is important sometimes persons understand what it entails and when you're making an application. So that we've eliminated, therefore, that necessity of having to travel to Georgetown to make your application. And we have yesterday, with the IDB, we are looking to see how we can strengthen the regional offices, because the local authorities, we have already, with collaboration with the Ministry of Local Government, has already placed a computer system in those local authorities. But then we're looking to further enhance them that therefore sees persons who are making application, who may not have the ability probably to, or access, can move quicker. So if those of you who want to have queries, please use that desk. And those who are pending, because we do have. So I thank you very much for your patience. Because you have waited so long enough, the staff will work throughout for today's activities. We'll work throughout until for completion, and then tomorrow they'll continue with the focusing more on the allocation. Because in addition to what I didn't say, there are 122 persons who have already been allocated on the naming, that where we had issue on the land, and we have to do a little shifting in on the naming, the very on the naming. And that is being done today. So some of you are here because of that. So it's a lot of work that is here. Myself, Minister Rodriguez are here too for on PS if you have any other interventions or queries. Thank you very much. Congratulations to those who will be embarking, therefore, on the opportunity for their home ownership. And for tomorrow, I hope I don't get in trouble saying this now. For tomorrow, 500 lots, I'm pushing the limit that we accept from up to 2023 tomorrow. We said we'll clear all the backlog, but I have to do this in progress based on the land. But for tomorrow, 2023, anyone with 2023, so there are 400 plus that have already been called. But those additional ones up 2023 and prior, we start the ball rolling to clear our backlog. And then there are 22 persons who will be benefiting from the steel and cement voucher, subsidy voucher, that as part of the initiation for building your, or commencing construction of your home, that have qualified to date where they have done the inspection. Those persons will be able to benefit from their steel and cement. Have a God bless day. Utilize the institutions over there. Don't wait until then you have to do, when you're ready, then to start getting information. Find out as much as possible, because that will help you in your planning, and you will know your ability of probably how much loan you can acquire, or how much you would want to push the limit, or to be able to build your house and with the possibility of expanding. Have a God bless day. And on behalf of the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and our team from Ministry of Housing and Water, we want to wish the people of Region 2 continued success, as you've been seeing across the length and breadth of this region. And I willfully, because of time, didn't go into water today. But you will understand that your complaints, your quarrels, your throwing away of that white cloth will end. For some, where we're commissioning on the Niming treatment plant in sometime by the end of new month or very first week in April. So those on that end of Essequibo coast will already start getting the full treated water. The plant for the Mariah's Lodge that will cover from the Charity coming down, that is, construction commences. That will see, as Minister Susan said, 100% access to treated water. And the work continues similarly in the Pomeroon, where we continue to drill wells in every community. So nobody don't have to turn up like Santa Claus in Wakapau to talk about pond and what people are getting water from. Because we already have a program. And in fact, if you look at your papers now, today, you will see advertisement for Wakapau for the well, because we have a rig that is permanently, well, I say permanently because it's there for the past year, in Pomeroon drilling wells and in-house by GWI. But we can't wait, we even now contracting out. So every community in Pomeroon will have access to potable water, and those that have, like Wakapau, where you have persons on the other side or living, well, basically we call them islands, we will be drilling independent wells to service all of them. 100% therefore access to water. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Colin Crowell. And I must say that's very exciting news for all those people who've been waiting. The 2023 applications, as Minister have said, they will be looked at also. So we're at the end of this session here, the opening session. So I want to thank the members at the head table, Honorable Minister Colin Crowell, Honorable Minister Susan Rodriguez, the regional chairman, Ms. Velma De Silva, and of course our Director General, Mr. Ricky Ramiraj. At this point in time, I'd like to invite Ms. Vanetta Williams Legal from the Central Housing and Planning, and she'll give us directions on how this process will work. So please welcome her. Come, Ms.
Good morning, all. Good morning to my head table. Our today's proceedings will be as followed. Persons for agreement to sale who would have been allocated on the Neiman Phase 4 will be able to sign up for your agreement to sale and your title today. So, sorry. Okay. So our staff will come around and check your documents individually. You will be ushered inside under the building so you can start the, your agreement to sale processing. General queries will be addressed separately. That will be assigned by another staff as well. Thank you.
Vanetta. Now, I'd like you to, everyone will be dealt with, so please maintain an orderly demeanor, all right? We're all here, ministers are here for any questions that you have, myself, and the staff is here to assist. So they will direct you and which line to join, etc., okay? Thank you.
Paradise, it's our world. इतनी खूबसूरत है, बेशुम रहकर. We are one Guyana, a place of peace, a place of love.